guys, welcome back. This is part 4 of me doing a complete tour of my movie collection. We're getting deep in my collection now, and we're going to start looking at the VHS tapes. If you guys have been following these videos, in part 1 I showed you guys all my Blu-rays. In part 2 I started to show you guys my DVDs. Part 3 I finished off my DVD collection, and for part 4 I'm going to try to go through and show you guys my VHS collection. And actually I have so many tapes that I really don't think I'm going to be able to go through all of them, because it would just take too long to film, and I just really don't have the time right now, because this shelf is double layered and this row right here is double layered and it has stuff stacked on top of it. But I will do my best to show you guys the highlights. All my best stuff is up front and all my horror stuff, so the stuff that's in the back is the stuff that I don't care quite as much for, so you guys will be seeing the best stuff anyway. So let's just get going on this and start off with what I have down here. Down here I have some of my big box tapes, my clamshell releases, and all of the tapes that are in like bigger cases and stuff like that. So if I don't have too many big box releases, I only have one horror movie. I have a couple episodes of the Transformers cartoon. I have an Andy Warhol film called Cocaine Cowboys, and then the one horror movie that I do have a big box release for is called The Slasher. This is a giallo. I still haven't gotten around to watching this, but one day I'll definitely have to check that out. Alright, these are my clamshell releases. I got some of these cool Warner Brothers clamshells. I got a Blondie video collection. This is probably my favorite one though. This is The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Really awesome tape here. Alright, just some random clamshell releases, some Power Rangers movies, Beetleborgs, The Mighty Kong, which is like a King Kong cartoon musical thing. Over here I have a few horror movies. I have The Howling 3, The Evil Dead. This is one of my favorite VHS tapes in my collection. I got a couple Anchor Bay releases of some of the Evil Dead films. I got the first Evil Dead and Army of Darkness and a clamshell. Some more Anchor Bay tapes, Phenomena, Rasputin, which is a Hammer film, and then the Vampires, which is like a lesbian vampire film or something like that. I haven't watched that yet. And then last for the Anchor Bay releases is Return to Oz. Above that I just have some random like clamshell VHS tapes, Transformer movie, the 80s cartoon one, and then First Blood. Alright, so let's move over to this shelf here, and then after I go through this shelf I'll go through this shelf, which is probably my main VHS shelf. I have a lot of my favorite stuff over there, so can't wait to get to that. And I'm also going to show you guys some of the action figures that I have displayed next to that shelf too when I get to that. Alright, so let's take a look at what we got down here. So first off, in the front I have all my copies of Blade Runner. Blade Runner, like I mentioned before, one of my favorite movies ever. So every time I go to a thrift store and I see a VHS of Blade Runner that is different from one that I already have, I always pick it up. So I actually have, I think, like 7 different copies of Blade Runner on tape, and all of them are slightly different. Some of the cuts are different and some of the artwork is different on those, so just really cool. I have my Alien tapes. Love these CBS Fox tapes. These are some of my favorite VHS tapes to collect. Got the Predator films, Predator, and then Predator 2, which this is a kind of a weird copy of Predator 2. This is like a preview tape. I've never seen this before in anyone else's collection. I don't know if it's rare or worth any money or not, but I just thought it was pretty cool looking. I have the Empire Strikes Back, the only Star Wars old school CBS Fox tape that I have right now, but I hope to get the whole original trilogy like that one of these days. Alright, and then after that I have Highlander and Highlander 2, and then it goes into my David Cronenberg stuff. I have all of the Scanners films on VHS. This is like an older copy of the first one. Really cool looking tape here. I got Scanners 2. I got 2 copies of Scanners 3. One of them is like a promo tape, like that Predator one. Scanner Cop, Scanners The Showdown, and then I have a couple other Cronenberg films like Videodrome, The Fly, and Naked Lunch. Alright, let's take a look at what I have up here. Lighting isn't the best here, but I have some really cool horror movies here. You guys can probably see what I have here. Bride of Reanimator, got some of the Hellraiser movies. Over here I got some cool Vincent Price stuff. Let me try to get this one out. Scream and Scream Again. I know there's like a cool Scream Factory release of this. Love the cover on this VHS tape. Really fun stuff there. Alright. And like I mentioned before, you guys can't tell, but there's another row of VHSs behind these ones. I'll pull a couple of these out just so you guys get the idea. You know, I got some Power Rangers tapes back there. I would love to show you guys that stuff. I really would. But it would just take way too long. I'm actually running out of space on my memory card for this camera right now. I only have about 30 minutes left on it. So just to show all that stuff would just take too long. And also my arm is starting to get tired. I've been holding this camera and filming these videos for like over an hour now, so the camera's starting to get a little shaky just because my arm is getting tired. So next I'm just going to show you guys what I have over here. So this is my main VHS shelf, and it's all horror movies, and these are probably my favorite tapes in my collection. Up front here I have the Evil Dead films, one of the episodes of Freddy's Nightmares, a couple of these cool Anchor Bay 2 tape sets. I have Nightmare on Elm Street and Night of the Living Dead. I also have a couple random copies of Night of the Living Dead, a couple really cool copies of Dawn of the Dead on tape. Awesome stuff there. Got a few copies of Day of the Dead on tape too, and then above these are just some random horror movies. I got a couple copies of Suspiria, this copy of Frozen Terror, which is one of my all-time favorite tapes ever. I just love the cover art on this. It's so cheesy and awesome. I just love everything about it. The head in the refrigerator, just so classic there. Alright, and then this cool 2-tape set, Stephen King's It. Alright, put that down there for now. Alright, and like I said with the other stuff, I have, this is double layered. Give you guys a little peek back there. You can see the Friday the 13th movies. I actually have all of those on tape. And some of the other films in this row are actually the Halloween movies. Can't see in there, but I have my John Carpenter and Halloween collection back there. Alright, so down here we have my Universal Monster tapes. I have all these classic Monster collection VHS tapes. I actually don't have all of them, but I have a good amount of them. I probably have, I would say, close to half of them. They put out a lot of these classic Monster tapes in the 90s. I loved collecting these when I was younger, and I still love collecting these now. And then above that is actually some of my all-time favorite tapes here. I have these really cool Universal Monster tapes. They have these these are old MCA home video releases from the 80s. I just love the cover arts on these. This is Dracula. Also got Frankenstein. The Bride of Frankenstein. Just love the cover artwork on that one. So cool. And I also have the Black Cat and the Raven 2-pack. These are all MCA Universal releases from the 80s, and these are some of my favorite tapes to collect. I'm pretty sure there's an Invisible Man release and a Mummy release in this series, and I would love to pick those up and add them to my collection. I also have all my Hammer tapes on top here too. Horror of Dracula. Got 2 copies of that. Dracula has Risen from the Grave. Taste the Blood of Dracula. Dracula AD 1972. This one's still sealed. Good stuff there. Bride's Dracula. The Rites of Dracula, which is actually the Satanic Rites of Dracula. This is like a cheap public domain VHS. And then the Mummy Hammer release. The cover of this always reminded me of like a Goosebumps book or something. This is actually the Hammer film from the 50s. Really cool stuff there. And then behind these, since I took all the ones off on top, I can give you guys a little look back there. It's actually just more Universal horror stuff. So some classic Universal sci-fi, some classic horror movies, and other stuff like that. So just got a ton of tapes, so many that I can't even go through them all. One day maybe I'll do a video where I go through all my tapes, but I did do a video series sort of recently where I went through most of my VHS tapes. I actually never finished that video series. I only got like 5 parts in. I had a few more parts that I never got around to filming. But if you guys want a better look at my VHS collection, you guys can check out those videos. Like I said, I think I made 5 parts to it where I show all of these tapes off a little bit better. I never got around to showing these ones, but I showed this whole shelf off and a few other things too, if I remember. I actually have a playlist for that under my channel, so if you guys want to check that out, go and check that out after this video. But last for this tour video, I just wanted to quickly show you guys some of the figures that I have over by my VHS shelf. So on top here, I have a 12-inch Creature from the Black Lagoon figure, and I've had that for like 10-15 years. I've had that for a really long time. Same thing with this Freddy figure, one of my favorite figures in my collection. This is my only Funko Pop I have. My brother got this for me for Christmas. Ash from Evil Dead. Got a Power Rangers Lord Zed figure, and then a Velvet Underground CD box set back there. Really cool stuff. Like I said, Velvet Underground, one of my favorite bands. Got this awesome Hammer poster. And then over here I have some packaged action figures hung on my wall. Try to give you guys a better look at these. So up here I have some of these Funko reaction figures. I got one of the Escape from New York ones and the Freddy Krueger one. Down here I have this old Daredevil figure. Daredevil is probably one of my favorite superheroes. I used to collect the Daredevil comics when I was younger. I have one of these old Kenner Aliens figures from the 90s. Love those figures. This is a White Ranger, Power Rangers figure. Comes with some cool armor and stuff. Again, this Wolfman figure I've had for like 10-15 years. I bought this at Rite Aid like around Halloween time, like 10 years ago or something like that. Down here we have another Power Rangers figure, a Green Ranger one. Just a cheapo Star Trek figure. So I definitely plan on getting more action figures from my collection. And when I do that, I'll have to, you know, rearrange these and hang them up in different spots in my room and stuff. But for now, those are mainly my packaged action figures. I do have a few more over here, which I already showed you guys in the first part of this. But alright guys, that is the end of my tour on my collection. And this was a tough video to make. Holding this camera here for over an hour and going through my whole collection was a bit tougher than I thought it was. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Definitely give this video a thumbs up, and if you watched all the other parts, make sure you give those ones a thumbs up too, because this was kind of tough to make. And like I mentioned in part 1, this was a video that I've been wanting to do for a really long time now, give you guys a better look at my collection. And even though I wasn't able to show you guys everything, I still feel like I was able to give you guys a better look at my collection than I ever have before in any of my other videos. So like always, if you guys enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys next time.